After that, there's a good hope, good chance that China will make a peaceful transition to a political democracy. Now, let me explain why I argue that. Certainly, I'm a minority at the moment. Very few people, colleagues, agree with me. I think that there are 4 factors I want to share with you. The first is related with the urbanization and demographic change, and with the rise of the middle class, the topic you studied when you were fellow. As we know that by 2025, between now and 2025, there are altogether 300 million to 400 million people will move from rural area, countryside, to urban areas. This is certainly the largest urbanization in human history. Accompanied with this really, unprecedented change is the rapid rise of China's middle class. Same things 15 years ago when I was in Shanghai, basically wrote about the middle class. At that time, when I wrote this term, people said, no, there's no such kind of things called middle class, right? Only a very small number of rich people, corrupt officials, and a huge number of poor people in the country. But now you see the middle class emerge in coastal area, and also include some, inland cities. They, have cars, have 1 unit, and can travel overseas, certainly domestically. They look like a middle class, think like middle class, behave like middle class. They are middle class. The number, according to McKinsey, the respected the consulting company, they believe that by 2025, China will have 520 million people belong to the middle class. You can see that the political, social impact of this change will be overwhelming. Now, middle class in this country, in many other parts of the world, is shrinking, but in China, it's expanding despite the economic crisis, which certainly hit China also severely as an export-led economy. But just to give you one data, 2003, China had a total 3 million credit cards. And last year, the number increased to 150 million, of which 50 million issued last year. By the way, Chinese people do not like to use credit card. They actually pay at the end of months. So we don't worry about the crisis, because of this. But this tells you the middle class emerged in such a fast speed. Now, the second factor is what I call commercialization of the media. And last year, according to official data, China had 2,000 newspapers, 9,000 magazines, 300 radio stations, 350 TV stations. Now, they're certainly not telling the same story. Otherwise, no one will buy these different newspapers or watch different TVs. Now, this reminds me that when I grew up in China during the Cultural Revolution, I remember my father always loved to say, he probably said many, many times, when he looked at the newspaper, he said, they're all lies, everything's lies, except the date and the week. Because he said that the weather could be a lie, because it's very sensitive. You will never say it will be a raining day during Mao's birthday or October 1st. This is